Hi, everyone. I am Amy Leah, the host of the Circle of Change podcast and the CEO of Hum Consulting. Welcome to Be the Change. Last week, we began to identify when our old wounds may be showing up. Another name for these wounds is trauma. This week, we are going to focus on what to do once we've identified the presence of our traumas. Let's use an example to illustrate. When I used to waitress, sometimes I'd have a very demanding customer who would come in and spout off orders in a loud, strong voice. That person was just being who they are. But to me, that way of being was a nudge for this wound. When I encountered someone like this, I'd automatically show up in one of two ways. I would get snarky and attitudinal, i.e., my fight, or I would start messing up everything. I would confuse orders, I would forget the specials, I would spill drinks on the table. I assume that's flight, but maybe it's part of freezing as well. Regardless, those natural protective mechanisms of fight, flight, or freeze were alive. Back then, I didn't have the self-awareness that I do today. So I just suffered through those nights. I complained about what an arse the person was, or I would beat myself up for being a totally incompetent waitress. Neither of those were very helpful. Today, that same situation might rear its head if, say, I have a client that speaks in really strong and loud tones. I can find myself becoming defensive, or I start making a bunch of mistakes, or I freeze, not knowing what the next step to take is, or suddenly being confused. Today, instead of beating myself up or complaining about them, I take a step back and I really feel that discomfort in my body. And then I use this practice that I want to leave you with today. I put my hand on my chest and I take a deep breath and I say, "It's okay. You're safe. It's okay. You're safe." Telling myself that I'm safe is essential. Because when a trauma wound are nudged, we have this strong impulse to protect ourselves. But in this example, there's no real danger. Telling myself I'm safe disconnects that automatic protective response and calms my nervous system, allowing me to really listen better, to hear the person for what they're really saying, and stay connected, which is my ultimate goal. So this week, I encourage you to experiment with this. If you find yourself in one of your protective modes, maybe it shows up as feeling confused about next steps or retracting, or feeling annoyed and argumentative, pause, take a deep breath, and let yourself know that you're safe. And I would love to know how this goes for you. Next week, we are going to uncover the beautiful gifts that working with our traumas has for ourselves and our lives. Take care.